What's up, world? My name is Dana Harris, and I'm back at you dropping math jewels. We're continuing to talk about the Common Core math standards, and we are in the domain functions. And one of the things the kids have to understand and be able to know in the functions domain is they need to understand that a linear function is represented by a set of ordered pairs that when you graph them, they form a line. And so we want to give you some examples of linear functions, and then eventually I'm going to give you some examples of nonlinear functions. So in this particular example, as you can see, I have my table set up already, and I already have my input or x values. Okay, notice I also have a function rule right here in the middle, and I'm going to show you how we can take these input values and we can extract from them the y values or the output values, and then we'll get the ordered pair that comes from these particular functions, okay, or I'm sorry, from these particular input values. Now, one of the things that I want to just quickly cover is that when we're talking about a linear function, there are multiple ways to show it in equation form, but one of the most popular ones that students usually see, and the one that makes it easiest to graph in my opinion, is the slope-intercept form. Okay, so slope-intercept form. Okay, and you might hear it spoken of as slope-intercept form of a linear equation. All right, now the slope-intercept form points out a few different things. What it does is it points out the y and the m is nothing but coordinates. Okay, so I'll just say output or coordinate. Okay, so that's the y coordinate or the output. The x here is the input or the x coordinate. Okay, so x coordinate, y coordinate. But the m and the b, okay, the m and the b in this case actually are, m is the slope. We also call that the rate of change. All right, and then b is what we call the y-intercept. Okay, y-intercept. That's where the graph is going to intersect the y-axis. All right. So now that we know these things, when you have an equation in slope-intercept form, it's very simple to graph. All right. Now, let's go ahead and plug these in. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our input values, we're going to plug them into the function rule, and we're going to extract the output values, which is going to give us an ordered pair. Hence, we have y is equal to 1/2, and I want to put the input value in parentheses, so -8, and then we're going to say -1, okay, which that equals half of -8 is -4, so -4 minus 1 is equal to -5, which is going to leave us with the ordered pair -8 and -5, because when we put the 8 into the function rule as x, we're going to get an output of -5. All right, here we're going to get the same thing, but we're going to plug in, for the sake of time, I'm going to just stick with one color, -4 minus 1. Okay, so half of -4 is -2, so -2 minus 1 is -3. All right, so we have -4 and -3 as our ordered pair. We're going to do the same thing. Half of 0 minus 1. Half of nothing is nothing. So 0 minus 1 is -1. So we have 0, -1. And then y equals half of 2 minus 1. Half of 2 is 1. Minus 1 equals 0. So if I have 2, 0. And then last but not least, I want to say half of 6 minus 1. Half of 6 is 3. 3 minus 1 equals 2. So 6, 2. Now, notice on these input values that I had in my table, they come randomly. I decided to select 2 negative values, 0, and 2 positive values. Simply because if you are given a function rule first and you want to graph it, you really want to see what it looks like on the negative side as well as on the positive side of your x values. So I always choose, I tell my students to choose 1 or 2 negative values, choose 0, and then choose 1 or 2 positive values so that you can see the behavior of that graph. We're not going to graph these, but if you graph these, they will form a line, all right? Now, that is an example of a linear function. And anytime you see a function in slope-intercept form, it is going to be a linear function. Remember, your slope can be just about any value, okay? Your y-intercept can be just about any value. There's a ton of different values that can go there. Remember, I want you to go to Instagram and follow me, YG Math Tutoring. That's my Instagram handle. Also, go to YouTube and subscribe. www.younggurusmathtutoring. www.youtube.com/youngmathguru. And then I also want you to go to Facebook and like my page on Facebook, Young Gurus Math Tutoring. Remember, I've got the solution to your math problems.